Olivia Morgan stared at her mother's phone in disbelief. This couldn't be happening. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled through more messages, each one making her stomach tighten further. The name at the top of the conversation burned into her vision: Ryan Thompson, her ex-boyfriend, the man who had shattered her heart just 3 months ago. "Mom, how could you?" she whispered to the empty kitchen. At 24, Olivia had thought she was past the age where her mother could truly betray her. She'd been wrong. The evidence glowed on the screen she shouldn't have been looking at in the first place. But when Patricia's phone had buzzed repeatedly on the counter while she was in the shower, curiosity had gotten the better of Olivia. Now she wished it hadn't. "Hey Patricia, thanks for understanding. Nobody gets it like you do." "Of course, Ryan. I'm always here to listen. Have you thought more about what we discussed?" "Every day. I just don't know if it's the right move." Olivia seems to have moved on completely. Olivia's jaw clenched. Moved on completely? She'd barely left her apartment for weeks after the breakup. She'd cried herself to sleep more nights than she cared to admit. Meanwhile, her mother, her own mother, had apparently been serving as Ryan's personal therapist. Or worse. The sound of the shower turning off upstairs jerked Olivia back to reality. She quickly placed the phone back exactly where she'd found it, face down on the marble countertop. By the time Patricia entered the kitchen, Olivia was sitting at the breakfast bar, scrolling through her own phone as if nothing had happened. "That shower was heavenly," Patricia sighed, running a hand through her damp blonde hair. At 49, she still turned heads, a fact she was well aware of. "What are you looking at so intently?" "Nothing important," Olivia replied, her voice surprisingly steady despite the hurricane of emotions swirling inside her. "Just checking Instagram." Patricia smiled and moved to the refrigerator. "I'm thinking pancakes for breakfast. What do you say?" Olivia watched her mother searching for any sign of guilt, any indication that she was harboring a secret. But Patricia moved with the same easy grace she always had, humming softly as she gathered ingredients. "Sounds good," Olivia managed. "Are you feeling all right, honey?" "You look a little pale." Patricia's concern seemed genuine, which only confused Olivia more. "I'm fine, just didn't sleep well." At least that wasn't a lie. She'd tossed and turned all night, second-guessing her impulsive decision to visit her mother for the weekend. Now she knew why her instincts had been screaming at her to stay away. As Patricia mixed pancake batter, her phone buzzed again. Olivia watched her mother's eyes dart to the device, a flicker of something, hesitation, anticipation, crossing her face before she wiped her hands and checked the message. "Everything okay?" Olivia asked, unable to keep the edge from her voice. "Oh, just work stuff. You know how it is, even on weekends." Patricia tucked the phone into her pocket rather than placing it back on the counter. "So, tell me more about this new job of yours in Chicago." But Olivia barely heard the question. Her mind was racing, reconstructing the timeline. Ryan had ended their relationship abruptly after a year together, claiming he needed space and wasn't ready for something serious. The breakup had blindsided her completely. They'd been talking about moving in together just the week before, and now, somehow, her mother was in the picture. The woman who had met Ryan exactly twice during family dinners. The woman who had always said he seemed a bit immature and not quite right for Olivia. What had changed? And more importantly, what were they hiding? Olivia forced a smile and began talking about her new marketing position, all while making a decision. Before she left tomorrow, she was going to find out exactly what was happening between her mother and the man who broke her heart. The rest of the morning passed in a haze of forced smiles and hollow conversation. Olivia's pancakes sat like lead in her stomach as she plotted. She needed access to her mother's phone again, but Patricia had kept it close, too close, since that first message. "I thought we could go into town this afternoon. Patricia suggested as they cleared the breakfast dishes. "That boutique you love on Maple Street is having a sale." Olivia nodded, buying time. "Actually, would you mind if I took a quick nap first? I really didn't sleep well last night." Concern creased Patricia's forehead. "Of course, honey. Are you sure you're feeling okay?" "Just tired," Olivia assured her. "An hour's rest, and I'll be good to go." Upstairs in her childhood bedroom, Olivia paced the floor. The pale blue walls, still adorned with her high school theater awards and college pennants, felt suddenly claustrophobic. She'd always found comfort in this room, but now it seemed filled with secrets and lies. She pulled out her own phone and stared at Ryan's contact information. They hadn't spoken since the breakup. Her thumb hovered over his name, tempted to demand answers directly. But no. If she confronted him now, both he and her mother would have time to coordinate their stories. She needed to know the truth before they realized she was onto them. Olivia flopped onto her bed and stared at the ceiling. The white plaster swirled with possibilities, each more disturbing than the last. Was her mother trying to get back at her for some perceived wrong? Was Ryan using Patricia somehow? Or was it something else entirely? Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of the front door closing. Olivia scrambled to the window just in time to see her mother walking briskly toward the garden shed at the back of the property. Without the phone, this was her chance. Olivia crept downstairs, careful to avoid the creaky third step. She found Patricia's purse hanging on the coat rack by the door, her phone likely inside. Guilt pricked at her conscience as she unzipped the bag, but the memory of those messages steeled her resolve. The phone wasn't there. Frustrated, Olivia scanned the room. Where would her mother have left it? She moved quickly through the house, checking all the usual spots: kitchen counter, coffee table, charging station by the landline. Nothing. Then she spotted it, half hidden under a magazine on the side table in the living room. Her heart pounded as she picked it up, thankful that her mother had never been one for passcodes or fingerprint locks. The messages with Ryan were right at the top of Patricia's recent conversations. Olivia opened them and began reading from where she'd left off earlier. "I just don't know if telling her is the right move. What if it makes everything worse?" Ryan had written. Patricia's response sent chills down Olivia's spine. "She deserves to know the truth, Ryan. If you won't tell her, eventually I'll have to." "The truth about what?" Olivia scrolled up, hunting for context, her hands shaking. "I know I hurt her," an earlier message from Ryan read, "but I couldn't keep living the lie, not after what happened with Cassandra." Cassandra? Who the hell was Cassandra? The pieces started falling into horrible place. Had Ryan cheated on her? Was that why he'd ended things so abruptly? And her mother knew about it? Had been keeping his dirty secret? But that didn't make sense with the rest of the exchange. Why would Patricia be encouraging Ryan to tell Olivia about the cheating after the relationship was already over? She scrolled further up, desperate for answers. "Patricia, I need your advice. I still love Olivia, but after meeting Cassandra at the hospital, everything's changed. I don't know how to handle this." "The hospital?" Olivia frowned, confusion momentarily overriding her anger. Ryan hadn't mentioned anything about a hospital. Before she could read more, a notification popped up at the top of the screen, a new message from Ryan, arriving in real time. "I've made a decision. I'm coming over today to talk to Olivia. She's still there for the weekend, right? This has gone on long enough." Olivia nearly dropped the phone. Ryan was coming here? Today? The sound of the back door opening sent her into panic mode. She quickly placed the phone back exactly as she'd found it and darted into the adjacent dining room, pretending to examine the family photos on the wall. "Livy? Where are you?" Patricia called. "In here," Olivia answered, working to keep her voice steady. "Couldn't sleep after all." Patricia appeared in the doorway, garden gloves still on her hands and a smudge of dirt on her cheek. "I was just checking on the tomatoes. Are you ready to head into town?" Olivia studied her mother's face, searching for signs of deception. Was Patricia aware of Ryan's imminent arrival? Had they planned this ambush together? "Actually," Olivia said, making a split-second decision, "why don't we stay in? We could bake cookies like we used to. I've been craving your famous chocolate chip recipe." If Ryan was coming over, she wanted to be here when he arrived. No more secrets, no more lies. Whatever truth they were hiding, Olivia was determined to face it head-on. The kitchen filled with the warm, comforting scent of baking cookies, but Olivia felt anything but comforted. Every minute seemed to stretch endlessly as she watched the clock, waiting for the doorbell to ring. She mechanically went through the motions of baking alongside her mother, her mind racing with questions. "You seem distracted," Patricia observed, sliding another tray into the oven. "Is work still bothering you?" Olivia set down her mixing spoon with more force than necessary. "Mom, The doorbell chimed, cutting her off mid-sentence. Olivia's heart leapt to her throat. Patricia wiped her hands on her apron, looking oddly unsurprised. "I'll get that." "No," Olivia said firmly, blocking her mother's path. "I think we both know who it is. And I think it's time for everyone to start telling the truth." Patricia's expression softened. "Oh, Livy, you're right. No more secrets." Together they walked to the front door. Olivia's legs felt leaden with each step. When Patricia opened the door, Ryan stood on the porch, looking exactly as Olivia remembered, tall with tousled brown hair and those piercing blue eyes that had once made her melt. But now, seeing him sparked only confusion and anger, and he wasn't alone. Beside him stood a woman Olivia had never seen before. She was petite with shoulder-length black hair and delicate features that seemed vaguely familiar, though Olivia couldn't place why. "Cassandra," Patricia said warmly, embracing the stranger. "I'm so glad you could come too." Olivia's head spun. Her mother already knew this woman? The woman Ryan had apparently left her for? "What is going on?" Olivia demanded, her voice rising despite her efforts to remain calm. "Mom, why have you been secretly texting my ex? And who exactly is she?" She gestured toward Cassandra, who looked uncomfortable but not guilty. Ryan stepped forward. "Olivia, we need to talk, all of us, but it's not what you think." "Then what is it?" Olivia crossed her arms. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like my mother has been conspiring with the man who broke my heart and the woman he left me for." Patricia placed a gentle hand on Olivia's arm. "Let's all sit down in the living room. Please, honey." Reluctantly, Olivia followed them. The four sat in awkward silence for a moment before Ryan finally spoke. "I didn't leave you for Cassandra," he said quietly. "I left because I found out something that changed everything, and I didn't know how to tell you." Cassandra leaned forward. "Olivia, I'm your sister." The words hung in the air like smoke. Olivia stared blankly, certain she had misheard. "That's not possible," she finally managed. "I'm an only child." Patricia's eyes filled with tears. "No, sweetheart, you're not." As the shock of Cassandra's words faded, Olivia noticed what had seemed familiar about her. They had the same eyes, the same shape of face. Looking at Cassandra was like seeing a slightly altered version of herself. 26 years ago, Patricia began, her voice trembling. "Before I met your father, I had a brief relationship with a man named Daniel Clark. When I discovered I was pregnant, he had already moved across the country. I was young, scared, and alone." She took a deep breath. "I made the hardest decision of my life and gave Cassandra, up for adoption." Olivia felt as if the floor had dropped out from beneath her. "You had another child?" And never told me? I wanted to. So many times, Patricia whispered. But the longer I kept the secret, the harder it became to tell. Your father knew, but we agreed that we would wait until you were older. Then he died when you were just 12. And I couldn't bear to upend your world again. Ryan reached for Olivia's hand, but she pulled away. That doesn't explain why you broke up with me, or why you've been texting my mother. 3 months ago, I was at Brighton Memorial Hospital for a routine physical, Ryan explained. I saw a woman in the waiting room who looked remarkably like you. We started talking, and when she mentioned she was adopted and searching for her birth family, he trailed off, the implication clear. He recognized my maiden name, Patricia continued. Given the timing and the resemblance, he suspected the connection immediately. Cassandra smiled hesitantly. I'd been searching for my birth mother for years. When Ryan approached me, it felt like fate. So you broke up with me because you found my long-lost sister? Olivia asked, struggling to process everything. Ryan's expression was pained. I broke up with you because I was suddenly caught in the middle of a family secret that wasn't mine to tell. I kept thinking about how I would feel if someone had hidden something like this from me. I tried to convince Patricia to tell you the truth, but she wanted more time. And in the meantime, you two started a relationship? Olivia gestured between Ryan and Cassandra, the betrayal still fresh. No, they exclaimed simultaneously. Olivia, no, Cassandra said firmly. Ryan and I are just friends. He's been helping me navigate this whole situation. The truth is, I've been hoping to meet you just as much as I wanted to meet our mother. Olivia looked at her mother, seeing the years of guilt and secrets etched in the lines of her face. Then at Ryan, whose intentions had been better than she'd imagined. Finally, at Cassandra, her sister, a missing piece of her life she had never known existed. I should have told you myself, Patricia said softly. I was a coward, and I'm so sorry. The room fell silent again. Outside, birds chirped in the maple tree by the window, oblivious to the life-altering revelations happening within these walls. The timer in the kitchen dinged, announcing that the last batch of cookies was done, a jarringly normal sound amid the extraordinary conversation. Olivia took a deep breath. The anger and confusion still swirled within her, but alongside them was something unexpected: curiosity. Looking at Cassandra, she saw questions mirrored in eyes so similar to her own. What kind of person was her sister? What had her life been like? Would they have been close if they'd grown up together? I think, Olivia said slowly, those cookies are going to burn if we don't get them out of the oven. She stood up, her legs steadier now. And it sounds like we have a lot to talk about over them. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a beginning. As they moved toward the kitchen together, an unlikely quartet brought together by secrets and text messages, Olivia realized that sometimes the truth, however painful, opened doors she never knew existed.
Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more interesting content coming soon.